We're live.
Welcome to the Lost Together podcast. I'm Joe, and this is one man's attempt to convince his wife that Lost is one of the greatest television shows ever written, produced, acted in, shot in Hawaii, full of insane stuff that got even more insane in the next couple of episodes. And I say couple of episodes because tonight's episode of the Lost Together podcast is special.
Because we cheated.
Well, kind of. So, just going to be completely transparent because we love our audience. We don't typically have time to watch more than one episode in a row.
Yeah.
But on this particular day, we did have time, and the two episodes it felt like one long story, and you'll know exactly what I mean in a minute because they're not directly connected. So we're going to talk about them one at a time, but we're basically talking about episodes 6 and 7 from season 2, which is Abandoned, followed by The Other 48 Days. Abandoned was originally aired on November 9th, 2005, and we'll talk about that one first. So, what'd you think about it?
It was great. It was one of those where, like, I so immediately felt bad about what I said in our previous recording. Because I think I said, oh man, like, Shannon is so boring. Like, I don't even care about... And then it was a real face grabber for me. I literally was like... When the thing happened, yeah. I was like, no! I had to get up off the couch and walk into the kitchen, and I was like, are you kidding me? Why?
I actually think that it is one of the reasons that Lost is one of the greatest TV shows ever made. It's because characters are not safe on the show.
Yeah, I so did not even see that coming. Not even a little bit. Boone getting killed off felt... okay, because he's, we weren't that bought into him. I wasn't that bought into Shannon until this episode, and then they killed her.
But also, Boone took a couple episodes to die, so he got in the plane, plane crashes to the ground, doesn't die immediately.
No.
So, in this episode, Shannon's alive one second, dead the next.
Dead. Much like real life, it happens in a second, baby.
Yeah, so...
I was shook up.
So I thought a couple of things about this episode before we get into the recap.
Made me sad, made me angry.
The main one was like Maggie Grace doing decent acting in this episode.
Was that Shannon?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so of Taken fame.
She's the daughter? I think we may have gone over this before.
Yeah, she's the daughter. She's the daughter that her dad's got a particular set of skills. And
yeah. Well,
she's
you know what?
At
least she got a good dad in one thing she was in.
Well, I think her dad was okay and Lost. He just died.
Her daddy, you should not have that much money and not have a plan in place to take care of your children.
I have skepticism about Boone's mom's account of whether there's a will.
That's why you should have a will recorded.
Exactly. Yes.
Record your will, have one in place, a living trust.
But here's the other thing. Even when that's the case, you have to be somebody who knows that, right? Mm-hmm. So,
and I'm telling you, dear listeners, have your will recorded in your local county courthouse.
Yeah.
Take care of your family.
Is our will recorded?
No. No, it's not. But it should be.
We do have a will.
Yes.
It's not recorded.
No.
So we need to do that.
Yeah.
Is that free?
No. Well, I mean, it's a
Marginal.
few dollars. Yeah.
We should do that.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's just get straight into it because we've got 2 whole episodes to recap here.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are substantive, but also not a shit ton of stuff to talk about. So in Shannon's episode, they really humanize her. This whole time, I think when this whole thing started, I called her the bitch in the pink silk suit or something because she was just completely fucking useless for like a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode starts with sweet, starry-eyed young Shannon, barely 18-year-old Shannon. The world is her literal oyster because she's got a rich daddy, and she's beautiful, and she's talented. She's a ballet teacher. Love that. I don't know how I didn't peg her as a dancer to begin with. Obviously, she's a dancer. Beautiful, soft, like just all the. She's got major dance vibes going on. So, she gets a call like at her dance class. She's talking to her buddy, and she's like, they're talking about some dad that's trying to hit on the other teacher. They're like, oh, and then Shannon gets a call that she needs to get to the hospital. Daddy died in a car wreck. And now she has got her step monster, aka stepmother.
Did you happen to catch who she was in the car accident with?
It was a head-on collision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's Kate.
No.
No?
No, it's Jack's wife. It's the car accident.
Nobody said that.
Yeah, they do.
No, I figured it was Kate.
They do say it, yeah.
No.
Yeah, it goes on in like the background where there's Jack going to do the surgery on.
Oh my God. I'm not paying attention to that. I'm watching
Sarah.
How fantastic of a job. What a fantastic job the girl that played Shannon did with the grief of that moment of like, my dad died, what? And the shock and I thought that was captivating. Such a great moment.
Yeah, because you kind of see which is, they don't say that denial is one of the first things that happens for nothing. I mean,
it's
it really
disbelief.
is. One of the first things is just like,
what? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so Daddy's dead, and then Shannon is trying to get an internship at some super prestigious
dance school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, before that happens, obviously there's like the wake, and she's in her room. Boone comes in, and he like hands her a flask, and he's like super cool. Is that when he gives her money, or is it later?
Later.
Okay.
Because she doesn't know. She doesn't know at the wake yet.
Right. You're right. Yeah, but they have just like a cool. And he's like, "Did you talk to my mom?" And she's like, "No." And at that point, he still lives in New York, and she's like, "I'm trying to move to New York. I'm gonna get out of here." Later, stepmom is like, "Your dad didn't leave you specifically any money." And that is literally what happens. That is what happens if your will's not recorded and it can't be found by the appropriate person.
And you're married to a monster. I mean, like...
What a horrible lady. She's right up there with Walt's mom.
Yeah, she's behind Walt's mom still, but, like... Definitely.
I don't know. I mean...
Because at least... She is a monster, right? Number 2. And I've actually got a question about this for whenever we start discussing. But, like... If he didn't, to your point, right? He didn't do the will, right? So maybe in some dark corner of her mind, she thought maybe he didn't want her to have it if he didn't do a will. No.
People do not grapple with their own mortality as they ought to.
But the thing is, you can't prove that she's not thinking that, right? So, like, at least in her case... There is some twisted reason that this makes sense.
Yeah, the way that it makes sense is because she wants that damn money.
But Walt's mom literally does hers for absolutely no reason and then lies about it later.
She thinks that Michael is a ill-fitted father. Like, he should not be in charge of a child.
But she doesn't have being that he put her through school and allowed her to get her job, she doesn't have a cogent reason to think that at all.
I'm just saying.
And by the way, this is comparing like Ted Bundy to Jeffrey Dahmer in my opinion.
Yeah, they're both bad,
monstrous,
bad.
But there ain't a person on this show to me that is worse than Walt's mother.
She sucks. She does suck.
Right up there. Monstrous.
She sucks.
Because Shannon's stepmom is mean and she's just lying. Right? Walt's mom was manipulative and deceitful and evil. And she
died.
And earned that shit too.
Yeah.
Dead.
As far as I know,
so,
Boone's mom is not dead. So.
No.
So,
sadly.
Anyway, Shannon tells Boone, like, hey, your bitch mom is not going to give me any of my dad's money.
Mm-hmm.
So then Boone is like, here's a check. And Shannon's like, oh, I don't need that. I'm going to come to New York and I'm going to do my internship and it's going to be great because she got the job. And she was like, can I live with you? And he said, no, I'm going to go work for my mom. And she's like, fuck you, Boone. Like, I don't need you and I don't need your money and fuck you and I'll figure it out. And she figured it out by getting in a plane crash and getting stranded on an island.
That was years later.
With sweet, sweet Saeed,
Yeah.
who built her a beautiful little tent. Beautiful tent.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. To get her up off the beach out of her shitty little thing that she built herself. She built it. I probably couldn't build one that good. Her little shelter with her plastic whatever that she hung up. She did a great job.
Yeah.
But Saeed built her a nice little love shack. So they go to the love shack and things happen as they do. But I guess, like, well, I'll get back to that. So Shannon, things happen. Saeed leaves and she like relaxes in her little love tent and she opens her eyes and there stands a fully saturated dripping Walt speaking backwards. Yeah. It's like that language they speak in Harry Potter.
Parselton.
Yep, it sounds like that. Scary, unsettling.
Do you know what it also
unnatural.
sounds like?
What?
The Whispers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's like gibberish. I guarantee you they're speaking backwards. Whatever it is, it's backwards. So she's like, bleh! And then she tells Saeed, like, oh, Walt was just in here, so I'm going to go get the dog, and me and the dog are going to go to the forest, and we're going to find Walt. Because guess what? He's here, and he's alone, and that makes me sad. So we're going to go find him. Saeed is convinced. He's trying to convince her that what she saw was not real. And she's like, you're just like everybody else. You don't think that I'm capable. You don't think that I can do it. And you don't believe me. You don't believe in me. And Saeed is like, that's not true. She's like, do you believe me? And he's like... So then she literally, she's booking it through the jungle. Mm-hmm. He follows behind, catches up with her, and he's like, I love you. The first time he ever said it. Mm-hmm. I love you.
He had to throw that Hail Mary, baby, because he pissed her off right after he made him a little house.
Woo! She was pissed.
And guess what? That Hail Mary worked, too.
Yes, it did.
So.
Because she was like, you're just going to leave me. When we get off this island, you're going to leave me. And he takes her little face in his little hands, in his big hands, and he says, I will never leave you. And she's like, okay. And then here come the whispers.
Meanwhile,
and Walt shows up again. He's standing there and he goes, and she goes, do you see him? And Saeed's like,
he doesn't even nod. He's like,
no, he says yes.
It's like barely.
Yeah,
but
he acknowledges, like,
he's looking at a ghost, basically.
Yeah. So Shannon takes the fuck off.
Hold on. Let's Tarantino this before you get to the next thing. Go back and talk about what happened with the tail section folks making their way across the island. Sawyer infection.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's in the other 48, isn't it?
No, it's in this episode.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like separating those two things completely in my brain. Mm-mm. Okay, so the other people, Mr. Echo, Ana Luisa, Libby, who's a therapist. She's a therapist. So funny. A clinical psychologist, technically, but
still
she's
works.
got a deep understanding of the human psyche.
Yes.
So I was like, as soon as she said that, I was like, there she is. So
do you know the difference between a clinical psychologist and a psychologist?
a clinical psychologist, I think, can prescribe medicine. Can
Correct.
They? Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas a psychologist can go like, you should get some Klonopin, and the clinical psychologist can go, here's your Klonopin.
Clinical psychologist goes, would you like some Klonopin? And then writes it out. And psychologist goes, this is all your mom's fault. Like, your mom sucks, bro. Anyway, pay him up front. See you next week.
Whatever. Anyway.
By the way, I love therapy. I've done it for years.
Therapy's great.
So I'm not anti-therapy. That's just a joke.
Yes.
Like, I love therapy. I've done it years and years.
And he loves his mother.
Yes.
Yes. So, anyway, we've got...
Okay.
God. So we've got those dudes. Goodwin. He's not there anymore. See, this is what I'm talking about. I need to separate it.
No, because it's important for this episode. The stuff that happens while they're going across the island.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Echo is leading the pack. He's gotten back with him. Jen, Michael, everybody, they're all back together.
Yes.
They're traipsing across the island. Mr. Echo tells Ana Lucia, who says... Ana Lucia, sorry. I'm just going to call her Ana. Ana wants to stay on the beach. So then they come to kind of this super rocky overpass, and she obviously does not know what the hell she's doing with geography, tracking, whatever. So Mr. Echo walks up and he sees these cliffs of moor or whatever. I mean, they look dangerous as hell. Hard to pass, I guess.
For able-bodied people.
For able-bodied people.
Much less somebody with...
some horrible infection. Sawyer is...
sick.
Not doing well. Stumbling around, but he's got that corn-fed, southern thing where he's pushing on through, and they keep having to stop, like, more frequently. They're having to stop for breaks and stuff, and he's like, I can do it. What does he call her? Ponce de Leon?
Ponce de Leon, yeah.
I thought that was great.
Where would you go, Ponce de Leon?
Yeah, because she gets lost.
Yeah.
So he's still witty and clever and fast and whatever. So, anyway, Mr. Echo was like, we should go back into the forest, because this is going to be hard. And she's like, you want to save this hick? You're going to risk all of our lives for this hick? And he's like,
yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, that's who I am, baby.
Yep. So they go back into the forest or the jungle, and Sawyer collapses, and he's down for the count. Like, they think he's dead. Annalisa's like, leave his hick ass out there to get eaten or whatever happens with the others. But of course they don't. Jen and Michael are not trying to leave him, so they build a stretcher, which is what I said they should have done forever ago.
And Sawyer says to Michael,
I would leave you. I would have left you. And Michael says, it's a good thing I'm not you. That baby has a good friend.
Something really nice about that, though, which I called it out in the moment. It's just the psychology of Sawyer, which is make people hate me because they eventually will anyway, right? So, like, at least I chose it, like, when, you know what I mean? But that was, great acting on his part because of the little facial expression.
Almost dead. Like, he's about to pass out, and he's like, I would have left you.
But just the little facial expression that he does looking up at Michael.
The soft, when he says, good thing I'm not you. Yeah, and he's like,
yeah.
Like,
anyway.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And then also, I think right after Sawyer tells Ana, like, where should we go, Ponce de Leon? And then she's like, we wouldn't be lost if Mr. Echo hadn't gone to find your friend. And then Sawyer's like, I don't give a rip about Michael or Jen. I just care about me. And then Michael and Jen come around the corner at that moment. And
thankfully, Jen doesn't understand him. But
I bet he.
Jen knows a maximum of about 5 words at this point.
I don't know.
No, I'm right on this
that's
one. He doesn't.
Context. I think you could look at Sawyer and tell he's talking shit.
Jen is not. I'd take my word for it. He's not there yet.
Okay.
Like,
anyway,
Michael is.
Yeah,
though,
Michael
and
comes around and he's like, good to know.
Yeah.
But then later, he still saves Sawyer. So
Yeah.
they build this thing. They're traipsing through, the jungle. They go up this big, not a cliff, but bigger than a hill. A big kind of...
It's like an embankment.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
They're hefting Sawyer's complete dead weight up this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of their people is missing.
Yep.
Cindy, yeah. Cindy's gone. So they're screaming for Cindy. And then kind of at this same moment is when Shannon and Saeed are having their little moment.
Mm-hmm.
Walt's there and he's going shh, and he runs, whatever. Gunshot. A gunshot. Which I was like, oh. Oh. And then friggin' here comes Shannon with a big old hole in her stomach. And she falls in the dirt and she dies. In the arms of the man that just told her, I love you.
Yeah.
And Shannon, bless her heart, maybe she is a spoiled brat, was a spoiled brat, and useless and whatever. But you know what? She was a human being, and she had dreams, and she had tenacity, and she believed that she could be more than she had been.
Excuse me. Okay.
She believed that she could be more than she had been before the island, and she was finding her spot, and it took this freaking episode for them to make her any kind of likable, and then they killed her. I was so upset. I'm still upset. I am not happy. And freaking poor Saeed, my God. Dude, this poor man cannot win for losing. Everybody he loves dies.
Yeah.
Everybody. His friend, the one that blew his brains out,
Mm-hmm.
Shannon.
You mean after he betrayed him?
Well,
Yeah, and Nadia after he tortured her.
Well, we don't know that she's dead.
And Shannon after...
He said, I love you.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Well, Nadia's gone.
Gone, but I don't think she's dead. Is she dead?
Do you know, honestly, I don't think so. I don't
think so either.
I don't remember.
I don't think she is. Is he ever going to see her again? Is she effectively dead?
Lost, I believe, Nadia. The Nadia story is one of the few times they kind of dropped the ball. That's just a minor spoiler for you, but they dropped the ball a little bit.
I mean, if a person, exits your life like that, you literally never see or hear from them again, they're effectively dead. I mean, but, Shannon dying in his arms right after he said, I love you, I believe in you, and I'm never going to leave you. And, it sent chills up my spine when he looks up from Shannon's newly dead body and sees Ana Lucia with that gun. Ana Lucia with that gun.
Luisa is the sister from the Madrigal Sisters movie.
Yeah, Encanto.
Encanto, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He looks up, he makes eye contact, and you can see she's like, Arnar. I have messed up. Speaking of that accent, I think another thing that happens in this episode, I don't like Charlie anymore. I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, a little B side plot.
Yeah,
Charlie
big
being
yuck.
critical of Claire's mothering.
Being a mom is so hard. Being a new mom, a first-time mom, is so hard. And I got to have my baby with an incredible support system in a hospital with a medical staff. Everybody I knew had already had babies. A knowledgeable, safe network of human beings that I could go to. Meanwhile, Claire has had this baby by herself in the sand on an island full of dudes and Kate.
The son.
And son. Son, but,
Who,
Son is medically
inclined.
Yes. But I mean, like, as far as, like, mom's support, she's not really getting any. And I, before this episode, thought that Charlie was being so supportive and so helpful, and he just, wanted to be needed, and I get that.
Charlie sucks.
Charlie grossed me out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in a big way.
Way critical
yes.
of Claire, and also, like, possessive of a baby that's not his.
Hugely possessive. The first thing that pissed me off was she... in the little love shack, when Shannon starts screaming when she sees Walt, of course, Claire picks up the baby and takes off. There's damn monsters out there.
And screaming.
Yeah, and so you pick up your baby. You're taking your baby with you in that instance. Charlie's dumbass is like, oh, now he's not going to sleep. And, I'm going to keep him up all night, and he's not going to eat. And then, he's not wrong. I mean, he does know the baby. But he's going about it the wrong way. You don't talk to a new mom like that about their child. Mothers and their babies are entwined. Like, she knows. She just doesn't trust herself enough yet. Because she's got all the trauma about, wanting to give it away and all that. So, he, yanks that baby out of her arms. And he's like, just give him to me. Whatever. Boo. Not your baby. Not your baby. So then, later, she runs into Locke, and he's like, how's that cradle treating you? And she's like, the cradle's fine. It's a baby that won't sleep. So then Locke teaches her how to swaddle Aaron, which is a freaking magic trick for babies. I mean...
Yeah, babies love to be swaddled.
Yeah, because it reminds them of, being in the womb.
Fun fact, this is a true story. The first time I watched Lost through was when my oldest was not even just a couple of months old. She was very little when I first watched through this. I didn't know about swaddling.
Really?
And I learned about swaddling from Lost, which is how
John Locke is a sage, man.
And
I've been saying it.
I swaddled the shit out of that kid, and that's when she finally started sleeping some. And my oldest, it was by far the worst sleeper. So we are already 30 minutes in, and we've got another episode to cover.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, hold on. Locke, gingerly takes Aaron, and then here comes Charlie, and he's like, what are you doing? What? And then Locke very softly confronts Charlie about his drugs.
He said, that's something to say from a heroin addict.
Yeah, because freaking Claire... Does she know that Charlie, before everything where she lost her memory, did she know that Charlie was a drug addict?
I can't remember. I feel like
I can't either. But she doesn't know. So she's like, oh, Charlie's super religious, and I don't remember marrying him, and he's got all these things to say about me, and I wouldn't raise my baby like that because he's super religious or whatever. And Locke is like, what? And she's like, oh yeah, he carries around the Virgin Mary, all the time, everywhere. And Locke's like, drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he softly,
Confronts
at
Charlie,
him about it. And Charlie's like, I'm a recovering addict.
He's like, recovering? Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. The next episode,
which originally aired on November 16th, 2005, The Other 48 Days, which is really just a parallel for the entire first season of Lost, but on the other side of the island.
Man, they got the shit into the stick, those guys.
They did, and I like that they spent this episode trying to give you a little bit of insight into Ana Lucia's shitty attitude.
Yeah.
Which I think...
Yeah, it made sense. Yeah. I mean, she was kind of a hard ass, from the beginning.
Kind of, but you remember her with the kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was very, very good and very soft.
Very
with the kids.
maternal,
But people can be hard asses with other adults, but be very good to kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very soft on the kids, and very not soft with most adults. I don't think I'm mean anymore. I used to be.
Yes.
Just I'm a project manager by trade, so you just spend most of your job listening to people make up excuses for why they didn't do work instead of just saying like I didn't do it or whatever, which would be so preferable, by the way. If you ever work with a project manager, just say I didn't do it. I'll get it done by this time. Pro tip. But but with the kids, it's a totally different tact. So I take
so she does a really good job with the little boy and the little girl. I think she does mouth to mouth on the little girl.
Saves her life.
Saves her, yeah. Because the boy is like, my sister, my sister. So Mr. Echo is like yanking people out of the water.
One by one.
Yep, and pulls the girl out. She's not breathing. Lucia. God, Anna. I'm just going to call her Anna. Anna saves the girl. So now it's like her kid, kind of. Like.
Yeah, but she hands him off to Echo immediately.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's like.
But then Echo hands him off too.
Yeah, to Libby.
Cindy.
No. The therapist?
Not the therapist.
Oh, that brown-headed lady.
Cindy, yeah.
Okay. I didn't ever, when they were yelling,
but they're doing
Cindy? I didn't know who that was.
It's chaotic, just like the first episode of the first season.
Yes.
And that's when Ana Lucia gets drug up into the woods by Goodwin, who pops up to show her that Bernard is stuck
in the chair with a dead guy.
Miraculously. Just like perched up in a tree.
Barely though. Barely
hanging
on.
So
she talks him through getting out of the seat, and then the seats fall. Luckily, the guy that was in the other seat was already dead, so it doesn't matter. But Bernard, shimmies his way down the coconut tree or whatever. And then it literally is 48 days worth of these guys experiencing the shit into the stick with the island. They've got those kids. They've got no doctor besides Libby. And she's got some like base level first aid stuff. She corrects that guy's broken leg. He dies, but whatever. She's doing splints, tourniquets, all these things. And then Mr. Echo, after all the living people are on the beach, he starts pulling out all the dead people one by one and buries them all. So, he's got some.
He does all that in one day.
Yeah, he does.
Because that night,
the first night, the others show up, and Mr. Echo kills 2 of them with a rock. Because he's a badass. So
what does that tell you about the others? Because it is a parallel story. Mm-hmm. They did not show up on the first night.
No, they didn't.
On the other side. So
no, they didn't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they just were on the wrong side of the island.
Well, to me, my immediate takeaway when I saw this was I was like, oh, the others live close by. Because it's happenstance. There's no parallel. There's no nothing. The people in the back of the plane just got the shit into the stick in every possible conceivable way. Like they ended up on the wrong side of the island where the others already were. They had the kids. They had no doctors. They had no safe place to go to hide. Eventually Jack and them found the caves. They didn't even have that. Do you remember what Echo does to the others?
Yeah, he kills them with a rock. I said that. He
bashes them.
Kills 2 of them with a rock. And then he doesn't speak for 40 days. Biblical. I thought that was really interesting. And it's funny because
it's real Jesus-y.
It is Jesus-y, and he's not even the Christ figure. But he pulls all those dead people out, and he's got a very nice, obviously very expensive white collared shirt. Mm-hmm. And I know it's expensive because he's dealing with dead people. He was just in a plane crash. He's been in the ocean. Not a wrinkle in it. Crispy. I mean, freshly pressed. But he takes it off And then he never puts it back on again. He never wears a shirt the whole rest of the time.
Nope.
He ties a ribbon on his arm, and he doesn't speak. And he's a jungle man now. He does not speak. He doesn't wear a shirt. He just does stuff, jungle stuff. He's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a guy whose name I cannot remember. Nathan. And Anna is convinced that he is one of the others because they keep coming back every night. They keep coming back and they're taking more and more people. After like the third or fourth night, they take the kids and they take nine people in total.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find a list. I can't remember who whoops that other's ass. Is it Anna that whoops
Yeah.
that? Yeah. And then she's like pillaging the pockets and stuff, finds a list, and the list has everybody's name on it that got taken that night. So, she's like, oh shit, these people know us, whatever, like they're targeting us, why? We have to go. We have to leave the beach.
And Nathan was gone for 2 hours off on his own.
Nathan was gone.
Because they were doing bathroom breaks together and he went by himself.
He went by himself and he was gone for 2 hours, which...
Suspect.
Weird. Yeah. I mean, maybe you got some stuff you got to take care of. I don't know. But very strange. And also to do that and not let anybody know, or let the de facto leader know, hey, I'm going to go by myself. I got some stuff to do. I'm going to go. So she's convinced he's one of the others. She digs the huge-ass pit that she throws
Sawyer and them.
Sawyer, yep, that whole troop into. And she, hand digs that shit with a handmade backhoe.
Yeah, with a coconut on the end of it.
Yes.
Or just digging up a...
Insane. Yeah. You want me to believe that she dug that hole in less than 48 days? Come on now. That's crazy. So she throws Nathan in there because she's convinced that he's one of the others. Good old Goodwin, is kind of their sage, and he's like, "You're being too harsh. What are you gonna do? Hurt him? You gonna kill him?" And Anna's like, "No, I'm gonna cut his fingers off, and that's tomorrow." So then Goodwin throws Nathan a rope, and he pulls him out, and he's like, "You gotta get out of here. Here's some fruit. Go." And Nathan's like, "Which way is the beach?" So Goodwin's like, "This way." He takes off.
Kills him.
Next snap. And Goodwin had been so reliable, and I did not see that coming. I thought it was Nathan too. I was like, yeah, this slimy mofo, it's him. He just had that face. I was so wrong. It was that Steve Irwin adjacent Goodwin that was the bad guy. So they find the radio.
Mm-hmm.
They talk to Boone on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Bernard talks to Boone on the radio right before he, of course, has his traumatic, horrible accident that costs him his life.
Mm-hmm. So Goodwin's like, oh, the signal's blocked, so we need to get up high.
Yes.
And he tries to go off on his own.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And Anna's like, I'll come with you. And there's no telling that bitch no. I mean,
You're going, yeah.
There's no. So she goes up there with him and then pretty immediately pegs him, and she's like...
She pegged him before they walked up.
You think?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, because she was more chill than normal, as she was like, I'll go with you. And still I'm going, because she's bossy all the time.
Yeah.
So Anna got off her
Well, I thought
baseline.
it was just her, because he was her trusted dude.
Because nothing happens between the time they say they're going and she starts interrogating him. So, she has already figured it out. That's why she is trying to follow him up to the top of the mountain. 0 things happen between when she says, I'm going, and then she starts interrogating him.
Yeah, so anyway, she ends up killing his ass, impales him,
But first, does
Van Helsing.
Does a little trade back and forth with the knife, because he's like, hand me that knife, or whatever.
Oh, man, that was tense. That was tense.
She did it to make him think, oh, I don't. That she wasn't suspicious.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, this knife is like U.S. Army like 30 years ago. It's so weird that this is here. And he's like, mm-hmm. And then she's like,
let me show you.
Yeah, but yeah, she's like, you came out of the jungle like 10 minutes after we crashed and you weren't wet. And that is the second or third time that she makes a very like pointed time guess. Because she's like, Nathan was gone for 2 hours. And Goodwin, showed up 10 minutes. Where's your watch at? I've not seen her wear a watch. How does she know?
What do you reckon? What do you reckon her job is?
God, if I know, I don't know. I think
So,
she's got a bad family life. That's what I know.
Well, I'll tell you that her perception of time is related to her job. So,
There's no stars. How's she tracking time? Doesn't make sense. Okay, she's not got a sundial. How is she that precise? And nobody is questioning her on that, and I think that's really interesting. But anyway, she kills him, and I was looking at Lostopedia, and apparently Jen and either Michael or Sawyer, or maybe Mr. Echo, come across Goodwin's impaled body 2 episodes prior, and I do not remember that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
So
she comes back without Goodwin, and they're like, where's Goodwin? And she's like, don't worry about him. He was one of them. And nobody questions her. They're like, cool, let's go. So then we get more insight into their travels, as Sawyer is becoming more and more debilitated with his infection.
Nope. That's the last episode. It
shows her going in the pit, him getting, and then the cliffs.
There's a montage.
Yeah.
But you're missing out on when they found the place where they were hiding. So they found the
quarantine door.
The Dharma Initiative.
Yeah, and it's got the arrow rather than the swan.
Mm-hmm.
And it says quarantine on the inside of the door rather than the outside of the door.
And they found a box that's got some stuff in it.
Yeah.
That's got a glass eye,
a
Bible, and the radio. So we missed that. That's where they got the radio.
Yes.
But the glass eye, the Bible, and the radio is important, which is why I'm bringing that up.
Okay.
All right. So then you're right. They showed the montage. Okay.
Yeah, and then it shows like the same thing that the end of the last episode was, which is where they're hauling Sawyer's practically dead body up that embankment. Cindy's gone. There's wrestling. Shannon gets shot.
Yep.
And I get it, because they're hearing the whispers. They think, oh God, they're here. Like, Cindy's gone. Shit, we're all about to die. And then some person comes running around like you would shoot them.
Oh, and then there's the thing where Echo and Ana Lucia are talking out by that creek, and Echo starts talking again.
Oh yeah, he says oh yeah, it was because this is after she kills Goodwin, and she goes out to the creek by herself, I guess, to just process what is going on to her, because this whole time she's been resolute and tough and being a leader and a badass and harsh. And then here comes Mr. Echo, and he starts talking again, and that's when he's like, yeah, I didn't speak for 40 days. And she's like, oh, wait, because you killed somebody? And then
you waited this long to talk.
He says, oh, yeah, you waited this long to talk. And he said, you waited this long to cry. And then she completely breaks down in Mr. Echo's arms.
Finally has her grief,
Yes. Yeah, because she's like, this is our life now. Get used to it. Get over it. There's no hope in her at all. She's just like, this is it. This is what we're doing. Deal with it.
Poor Anna.
Yeah, bless her heart. I'm going to feel bad for her later. I guarantee it. I felt
bad for her in this episode, because I thought that, especially when the crash first happened, and she was so maternal and sweet with the kids.
Mm-hmm. And then they got taken.
And she promised that one kid that she would get her back to her mom.
The one that she saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
So, all right, so that's
That's it.
That's the recap.
That's what happened. I have been talking for 45 minutes. I'm really sorry.
So I'm going to hit you with right away a thing that I wrote down. Looking at these 2 episodes and thinking about the show as a whole to this point, and just I would normally dress these questions up, but I'll just ask directly: do the writers of Lost have a misogyny problem?
Because the 2 female lead characters are so damn unlikable? Is that what you mean?
Who's the redeemable? Who's a female character who is interesting and has more redeeming than negative qualities?
Shannon. And she died.
So, but here's the thing. What was Shannon's character like when it started?
Oh, a useless, spoiled ass. I mean, not even trying.
Yeah, I actually think my theory about that is that they evolved their writing on Shannon because she was so unlikable. Mm-hmm. So, like, they wrote her, their instinct was to write her ditzy, and she's a stereotype, basically, of, like, ditzy, airheaded, right?
Rich.
Okay, how about Kate?
Nothing good about her so far.
How about Jack's mom in the flashbacks?
Not great.
Kate's mom?
Maybe the writers had mommy issues.
So it's a well-documented fact that one of the common things that these characters have is daddy issues. Mm-hmm. So it's very common. Lots and lots of characters on Lost have daddy issues. Okay,
John.
It's
everybody.
All of them. 1, 2,
Walt,
everybody. Right. every dude on the show who discusses his father, essentially, it's just a shitty relationship, right? The only one, and even Jen's relationship is bad because of Jen, but like not because of his dad.
No, because his dad is welcoming. Sweet, he's like, right? I love you. Like, I get it. Go do better. Like,
so but at least you've got that. Who's the good mom? Claire's learning. She's brand new.
Yeah.
But who's the person who's a mom that's established, that's good?
I don't know.
There ain't one.
Yeah, nobody's
Son's mom? Gross, right?
Well, it's cultural.
Yeah, but she was mean about it, so.
It's cultural.
Walt's mom.
Sucks.
Boone's mom.
Bitch.
Jack's mom. Locke's mom.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Mentally ill. Not a bitch. She's sick.
We don't see Saeed's parents. Sawyer's mom, literally the reason they're dead, because she conducted an affair, right? And then his psycho dad, who is also terrible. So Sawyer's got the worst of both worlds. Like, Sawyer's got a dad who tried to murder his whole family, and he's got a mom who fell victim to a con artist.
An affair. I mean, that.
Well, first she got rid of all their money.
Well,
and had an affair.
Yeah.
And then he killed her. So, like, Sawyer got the worst. Sawyer probably, other than Walt's mom, who's the worst, got the worst.
If you know what, if I was married to somebody like Sawyer's dad,
what's Sawyer's dad like?
Obviously a fucking psycho.
Yeah, but they don't make any reference to how he is outside of what he did. It's like a crime of passion, but it's evil, and he's terrible. Like, I mean, Sawyer definitely got the worst situation in terms of both parents.
Yeah.
Because, like, Jack's mom is like a boomer where she's just, you got to do right by your daddy even though he's a piece of shit or whatever. Like, you know, she's just naive, really. But I guess my question is, it seems like the writers didn't really care to write too many great female characters early and really didn't care to write many good moms early.
Yeah, I mean, Rousseau lost her mind after her baby was taken. Mm-hmm. Did it ever explain why she had her baby with her on a scientific
She's pregnant.
journey? Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
She got to the island, had the baby, it was taken.
Yeah, and I mean, she was willing to steal somebody else's baby to get her baby back. That's a mom.
And there's some moms you haven't even seen yet that suck too. It's like,
are there just bad parents all over the place? Like, what is going on? Michael's doing his best.
Michael is trying,
Michael's
that's my point, is that
Claire is too.
But you have examples of established dads who are trying and have redeeming qualities, right? Claire is probably the best example of a mom. Like, Claire's
the only one, I believe.
Yeah, Claire is, trying and cares, and you cannot, listen, if for those of you that don't have kids, you better hold that judgment whenever you see parents with little kids, because it may be their first. And let me just tell you,
you're in survival mode.
There is not a more helpless time in your life when you just have no idea what you're doing.
Yep. You've got a thing that you love desperately.
You got a thing that you would happily die for, right? Who you cannot please.
Yeah, and you just don't know what to do, and you feel like you're supposed to know what to do, and you don't. And that's what Claire is dealing with. Because, I mean, it's natural.
Oh, remember Charlie calls out that Claire was going to get rid of the baby?
Yes, I do.
I told you about Charlie. Me and Greg didn't we, Greg?
Yeah.
Tried to say it.
You made me rank everybody the last time.
Yeah.
Put Charlie on the bad list.
He's on the sucks
list.
He's
on the sucks. He's on the mega sucks list. That pissed me off. Like, it didn't just make me like, oh, Charlie, like, I'm disappointed. It made me angry.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you, Charlie, to be telling this beautiful lady who just had this baby that is not your baby, first off, and you're right. He's been manipulating her due to her memory loss. Perfect situation for him, really.
You know what? I'm thinking about it, and not a mom, but in terms of, like, female characters, at this point, Sun's okay. And she's a minor character, but, like, you don't really have a reason to hate Jack's wife.
The only reason I didn't like Sun is because she was letting Jen embarrass the shit out of her in front of everybody,
which
talking
is Jen's
crazy.
Problem. Like,
yeah, but we're on a deserted island. Honey.
Yeah, but
we're not in.
Yeah, but we can't blame Sun for Jen's.
I know it's trauma, and it's learned generational trauma. I'm sure that Sun's mom never bucked up on Daddy when he was doing all his crazy stuff.
There's some stuff like they finally do it right, because like with Sawyer's parents, for example, if you're married and your wife loses your life savings and has an affair with a con artist, the proper thing to do is just leave, right?
Yeah.
Not kill your family.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, try to kill your innocent child.
Right, and and it's interesting, right? Because he does kill his wife, but doesn't look for or kill Sawyer.
I mean, he doesn't look hard, and she says when she's telling little 8-year-old Sawyer, like, go hide under the bed, she says, he's going to think that you're at somebody else's house. He doesn't think you're here. Go hide. So he walks in, but he just doesn't. I mean, it's not. He just thinks like, oh shit, he's not here.
If we're ranking the worst parents on the show, Walt's mom is the worst. Sawyer's dad is the worst. I think Sawyer's mom, while she did a bad thing, is still behind Boone's mom, and is still behind Walt's mom. Sawyer's mom made a mistake.
Yeah, she made a huge mistake.
She made a mistake, but there's no way to prove that it was malicious or anything. Like, she just,
affairs are bad.
Yep.
Dating con men, that's bad.
If you know you're doing it.
Yeah, spending your life savings, that's bad.
That's bad.
Like, you got a baby. You can't be wasting all your money on some dude. Like, don't be stupid. But,
But also, Sawyer's dad, just leave, dude. Like,
yeah.
Just leave. Like, what are we doing?
Killing everybody. That's what they're doing.
Yuck.
Yeah.
So anyway, the main thing I was thinking in this episode was like, Shannon, they wrote Shannon really poorly in the beginning. They ended up redeeming some,
Friggin' just in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hate that. I hate it.
Oh, you know what? Nadia's probably a decent example of a female character because...
Yeah, she's a badass. She was
atting Saeed for what he was doing.
Yeah, he's being a traitor, whatever, to his people, and she was like, yeah, you do whatever you want, I'm not talking.
Yeah, so Nadia, that's a good example.
Yeah, I believe her.
Ooh, what about Hurley's mom?
It's cultural. She loves that baby. Obviously, he lives at home.
Yes.
You know, she loves him. She's just kind of mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus called. What color car do you want?
It's Jesus on the phone. What color car do you want?
So funny. God. Yeah, I don't know. It's not occurred to me that maybe the writers have got a
misogyny.
Yeah, a woman issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
I think they might. Also, the most likable characters on the show were all men. Hurley.
Well, yeah.
Locke.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're men.
Yeah.
Between on the tail section, who do you like better, Mr. Echo or Ana Lucia?
Mr. Echo.
Right. They made Mr. Echo like kind and thoughtful,
but strong and trustworthy.
And resolute, and you know, and
he's got more. He's got beliefs. Like he didn't talk for 40 days.
He's convicted.
Yeah. That's the word.
He shows up in a suit that is like, and he is pulling bodies out of the water, and like
well pressed.
Yeah, and like, I mean, don't hold your breath on Mr. Echo because you haven't seen any backstory yet. But like, you know.
God, is this show just going to make me feel good and bad about the same people all the time?
It's almost like they're suggesting that there's some nuance in people and that it's not as simple as whether or not people are good or bad.
Yeah, well, I can decide whether I like them or not.
Well,
stop making me flip-flop. The show's making me flip-flop.
Well, it's literally...
It's embarrassing. You know how long I've spent defending Charlie?
But it's where the title of the show comes from. The thing that all these people have in common is that they're lost. So, like...
In every sense of the word, apparently.
I mean, more importantly, not physically lost, but in their lives without direction. Because they're, you know, it's an example of people who have these traumas that they're trying to overcome that manifest themselves in every interaction that they have. Like Sawyer thinking that suddenly when he gets close to somebody, everything's going to explode all around him. So he's got to be a total dick so that nobody ever gets close enough to him for him to actually care about or for them to care about him.
Hurt, yeah.
Yeah, so...
So sad.
You know, and then you got...
Kate with kind of the same fucking problem.
Kate running from everything all the time because of a thing you haven't even seen yet. And
yeah, I'd really love to just find out what happened.
Jack literally we get to see Jack's dad give him his trauma over and over again. Yeah. We get to watch
that baby.
We get to watch Jack's dad, which I know that for whatever reason, like Jack is the protagonist. He's like the protagonist, and people love to hate on Jack. Like that watch this show. You read in comment sections, they love hating on Jack. And I'm like, y'all, Jack is a doctor, and like we're giving Mr. Echo credit
and he's the doctor.
Yeah.
Imagine the stress of being the only doctor.
And jumping in immediately to help all those people, you know.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Echo. He's one of my favorite characters at this point.
Yeah, he's great.
My favorite character's not even on the show yet.
How much longer do I have before I meet him?
I don't know if I want to say, but...
like a long time, not a long time?
No.
How much longer until the thing that we're supposed to do where you want...
That's the season 3 finale.
Oh my God. Quite a bit then.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
But I will, for posterity, I will record that and I will put it on that episode.
Well, we record all of them now.
It'll be the opening of that episode. Will be...
Wow.
I think what we'll do
I'm going to do the Home Alone face.
What we'll do for that episode, everybody, is I'll have it on, because how this is set up, you can't see. TV's behind the laptop. Mm-hmm. So I'll just start it. Like, we'll watch most of the episode. We'll get to the point where we need to start recording it. I'll start recording, and you can watch her reaction, and then we'll just immediately launch into the episode.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
okay.
It's going to be really good.
Do we have messages?
Yeah, I'm actually looking them up right now. So we're going to move on to messages in a bottle, unless you have something else that.
No, it was a great episode. I think I really enjoyed it. I feel, with Boone, like it was obvious that he was hurt and he was not going to make it. This is the first death I think that has happened that I've been like, what? Like it just was completely. I did not see it coming at all. I don't want my main little group to die. I don't want any of them to die.
All right.
Even Charlie. I don't want him to die. I want him just. That's my.
Oh, speaking
that's
of,
my people.
The next episode is called Collision.
Is it about a car wreck?
It's the 33rd episode of Lost, and it features Ana Lucia and her backstory.
All right.
So anyway, now we'll go to messages in a bottle because I'm excited about this one. So you might remember that we took a poll in the last episode of whether or not people thought it was appropriate to wear the pajamas that said Forced Family Fun on them from our Christmas party that we went to. Matt J. Lewis indicates that he's looking around the room and whispering, I'd have gone with a Forced Family Fun shirt.
Not if you had the context, you wouldn't. You would not.
Oh, Josh Coveney says, me trying to keep up with all the podcast drops, and he's got like a going on.
What are the podcast drops?
We did 2 podcasts really close together.
Yeah.
All right. So Greg says, well done on your next level analysis on this one. You're really getting into the groove of this thing. Bravo. Jen being, quote, the biggest dickhead ever. I absolutely hated him during the first run and found his behavior unforgivable. The reason he was so bad at the start was because he was meant to have been killed off in season 1, creating a satisfying moment for the audience. What you're now watching is the start of his redemption, aka furious rewrites to justify keeping Jen in the show. Very apt Aladdin and Jasmine and Jack and Rose comparisons. It's a tale as old as time. Fun fact about the name Mr. Echo. The Mr. was actually the actor Adewale's idea. He suggested it during a scene and the writers and producers loved it. Sun's Ring. Did you see it fall off in the previous episode when burying the bottle? Most people missed this. I did. I missed it. He said, I'm willing to bet you guys didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that the first watch through. I didn't notice it this one. You're telling me for the first time.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice at all.
Oh, and Joe. I say this as a non-conforming neurodivergent guy. I would not have worn the shirt.
Thank you.
Instead, I'd have done this and then left after leaving behind a box with the slogan on t-shirts for everyone there. And it's a picture of a plane carrying a Forced Family Fun banner.
Careful. You might crash that on a deserted island. I wouldn't take a plane nowhere after watching this show.
I said thank you because this is absolutely hilarious. And it is. So it's funny because nobody said that it was inappropriate to do.
Y'all don't have the context, and if you did, you would feel differently.
I mean, the simple context is that the party was at my mother-in-law's house. So it was my mother-in-law's house, which I can tell you that I love her. She's a great mom. She's a great mother-in-law. But, like, it's her thing to be mean in her humor. It is specifically her thing to be mean.
Yes.
And she doesn't even hide the fact that that's what she does. She wants to do it, and she wants you to know she's doing it. So, like, yes. I think it's hilarious for that reason.
Not all the time, though. Not all the time.
I would say a grand majority of the time.
Well, I will not expand on the context of why the Forced Family Fun thing was a bad idea. I stand resolute that it was a bad idea.
Well, I mean, some people stand resolute that the earth is flat, and so everybody's entitled to...
Yeah, you go on and think the earth is flat, and that was a funny joke to make at my mom's house, because it wasn't. So, that's why we didn't do it.
Well, our listeners agree with me.
Well, don't, I'm telling you.
P.S. suggestion, he doesn't want us to read this out, but we did get some production notes from Greg, so thank you for that. Yeah. I'm here for the production notes. This is an amateur podcast.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Give me as many notes as you want. Yep. And I even said that. I'm here for the production notes in the comment section. So.
Yep.
All right. Well,
This was a long one.
This was
Sorry,
a long
guys.
episode, and I can't guarantee that it'll never happen again where we watch 2 episodes.
We try really hard not to, but you were right. Like those two felt like one big, huge, long ass episode.
So I wanted to real quick before we come off this. So season 2, I was going to tell you because I told you last season that my favorite episode was Numbers before we watched it.
Yeah,
Great.
It was
the
love that
Hurley episode.
Yes, where we find out that he won the lottery and all the misfortune befalls that poor baby.
And I'm trying to find the name of. Okay, it's episode 14. So we are just about to watch episode 8. My favorite episode from this season is episode 14, entitled One of Them.
Oh, and another thing that I have noticed and like is Jen. He does not speak very much English, but he knows others. He knows that word, but he doesn't understand the context, the difference between like other people and the others, and so there's kind of some serious miscommunication happening.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but like, and maybe this is way far left, I don't know, but is this about like how difficult it would be to be a non-English speaking person in this situation, and like just how you can't understand anybody, nobody can understand you, you don't understand context. It's like alien as in like not like green people. Alien as in like that there are other people, they're bad, you can't communicate that. It's just a scary foreign situation. Maybe we should edit that out.
No,
that seemed like a really well-formed thought in my head.
No, I think it's fine because I think that what that is just my opinion, but like that's a thing that just happens to be true, but I don't think it's their point. Like I don't think they're trying to make a point that like
that Jen's others and the others and like No,
I think it's just okay. I think it's incidental. But yeah, Jen is the rewrite is real, so like that's a great point by Greg. So you get to see a nice redemption arc for Jen. I'm glad he's getting one. You'll really like him by the end of the series.
I really don't like the way he treated Son.
Remember how I told you that Charlie sucked and that eventually you wouldn't like Charlie?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, eventually you will like Jen.
Okay,
All right. Then we're going to go get to another episode, and we will see you in another life, brothers.